Well, hello and welcome everyone. I'm Charlie Jeffery, and it's great that you can come along today to join us for this Pride Month celebration. Now, of course, COVID has meant that we haven't been able to celebrate Pride as we would have liked over the last 2 years. But great that we're now back on campus. Really excited that we can join one another both here and in the city for the various Pride celebrations in the coming days. Today's event has become a tradition for the university, where we raise the Progress Pride flag on campus as a way to kickstart our celebrations for the month. Now, 2 years ago, I did this waving a flag into the camera of my computer at home under lockdown. So we did it, but it wasn't great. Last year, I think I was here with Craig and nobody else because we couldn't have lots of people around. So isn't it just wonderful to be able to do all the things that we have missed in the last couple of years? The Progress Pride flag, or raising it, demonstrates in a clear and visible, symbolic way for everyone to see one of the ways that we support our LGBTQ+ community. Progress Pride flag is aptly named because Pride Month is, of course, about celebrating the progress that we as a society have already made and the progress we make as a university community. But it's also about acknowledging the progress that we still need to make to ensure that our campus and our city are safe and welcoming to all members of the LGBT+ community. Pride Month is a celebration of who we are and all the wonderful diversity around us. It's an opportunity for us to recognise the valuable contributions made by our LGBT+ community, and a chance to reaffirm something hugely important, and that is our shared goal of standing together in solidarity so that we might build a better and more inclusive campus environment. Now, as part of that journey, we know we will have to overcome challenges, but the shared goal remains the same. We want to build a community based on respect, fairness, and compassion for all. We support every member of our university and expect people to be treated with decency and respect. We acknowledge that a recent Student Society event and the fallout from it has left many of our trans and non-binary students feeling vulnerable, hurt, and unsupported. And I want to say that if anyone feels personally affected by what's happened or wishes to speak to somebody about it, they can contact the Student Hub or the Equality and Diversity Office in the first instance, and they will help you access the support that you might need. We continue to work hard to share our trans awareness training for staff, to keep developing guidance for supporting our trans staff and students, and work with students and staff to build on our ongoing programmes of events that celebrate diversity and inclusion throughout the year. But for now, in this Pride Month, we're inviting everyone here to celebrate and to help show our community how much everyone is valued and respected here in York. This flag is a sign of our solidarity, a reminder of our shared goal and of the role each one of us has to play in creating a welcoming and inclusive environment. Now, before raising the flag, I'm going to hand over first to Damien Shaw, a member of our LGBTI+ Matters staff network, who will say a few words. Damien.
Hi everyone, I'm a member of staff in the Department of Chemistry. When I was asked to speak here today, it took me some time to decide whether I actually wanted to do it or not. I was feeling quite anxious about it. I would be speaking openly about being a trans member of staff at the University of York. Being visibly trans at work is a scary thing. It can make you feel quite vulnerable. It took a long time for me to feel comfortable enough to come out to everyone in my department. I was lucky, as I have been supported really well by my colleagues in chemistry. I can come to work, be myself, and feel safe doing so. I say that I'm lucky because I didn't have to worry that coming out might lose me my job. Some might not be so lucky, especially trans women, trans people of colour, and those who live in places that are even more hostile towards trans people than the UK. But I do think that the university needs to do more to support members of the trans and non-binary community. Right now, university policies don't really acknowledge our existence. We have a small paragraph in the Equality and Diversity Policy under gender reassignment, which is an outdated term, and the staff policy looks to have not been updated in over 10 years. It's good to know that the university has committed to producing some guidance on supporting trans staff and students, and I would hope that we would not only be consulted, but be fully involved in the process. Ask us what we want, ask us what we need. Small changes can make big differences to our everyday lives. One example is that when we change our names, we can't change our usernames. So every time we log in to a university system, we're reminded of our otherness. I was pleased to hear that the university has run a couple of trans awareness training sessions. I hope the university continues to offer this vital training to give as many of you as possible the opportunity to attend. It really makes a difference to us to know that we have your support and that we can be our true selves. Thank you for listening to me here today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Pride Month.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. My name is Hannah Smith and I'm the Director of Student Careers and Systems here at the university, and with Derek Wan I'm also the co-chair of our staff network here. It's really moving to see so many faces out in the summer sunshine today. Thank you for being here with us. And Damien, just to say, thank you for those words. I know how you struggled with the concept of doing this. You've been so brave today. Thank you for that courage. As Charlie has already mentioned, we were last here in person 3 years ago in 2019, when we marked the 50th anniversary of the uprising of the Stonewall Inn in New York, 1969. That uprising, which some people will remember, was called a protest. Some people called it a riot. That famously kick-started the modern LGBTQ+ movement. Campaigners in different countries, not just in the USA, had been working on freedom for a century. They did it through writing, through protesting, and through lobbying. In the 50s and 60s, people like Barbara Gittins in the USA and Peter Wildeblood in the UK had been calling for changes to the laws and culture. They helped to push forward sexual and gender freedom. That hot night in New York City in June 1969, the day of Judy Garland's funeral, was just the day that it all kicked off. Despite the name, or maybe because of it, New York is such a different place to York. For me, I personally prefer the winding cobbled streets over the skyscrapers and the taxi horns of Fifth Avenue any day. And I realise I'm making a generalisation here, but I think it's fair to say that here in York, our lives are perhaps a little bit more chilled out than the lives lived in the glistening skyscrapers, drinking glamorous cocktails. Personally, I'd much rather prefer catching up with friends over a good old Yorkshire tea and slice of cake in one of our independent cafes. And yet, we are connected, not just through the name of our city, but through the historical uprising that happened that summer evening at the Stonewall Inn. The Stonewall riot gave LGBTQ+ people here in the UK and other countries the confidence, the energy to fight back. And that energy drove the amazing work of a number of organisations, the Gay Liberation Front in the UK in the early 70s, the creation of the LGBT plus helpline switchboard in 1974, which still helps people on the phones today. The opposition to Section 28 in the 80s, the first piece of homophobic legislation that was passed in the UK since the 19th century. That law ran in parallel with most of my own school career, and that is the reason why my teachers couldn't speak to me about LGBTQ plus people. Sometimes talking is all you need. Sometimes listening is all you need. What I'm trying to say here is that there is an irrepressible energy running through our community, what we now call our LGBT plus Q family. It is a connection that crosses times and continents. It is a connection between individuals that cannot be stamped out, even when the law tries to ban it. Community exists when we listen to one another, when we respect how a person describes themselves and explains their feelings and their experiences. We're here, we're queer, and we're proud. Today, as we raise our Progress Pride flag, I hope we can remember our community spirit. We're stronger together than apart, and we have more energy that brings us together than the negative energy that tries to pull us apart. Happy Pride, everyone. Yeah, that's it.